Everyone, please settle down. We are about to start. Yes. पहले बोला कि सब बैठे सेटल डाउन और बोला रिक्वेस्ट प्लीज सेट डाउन getting late. Okay.
So good afternoon, one and all present over here. Now we are going to have a talk on international markets by Professor Abhinav Sonavane, and he has more than 12 years of research experience in the field of cellular immunology of tuberculosis and acute lymphatic leukemia. He has done his PhD from University of Marburg, Germany in 2004, followed by postdoctoral studies at University of Florida, Gainesville, USA. Max Planck Institute of Infection Biology, Berlin, Germany, and European Molecular Biology Laboratory, Heidelberg, Germany. In 2018, he joined IIT Indo, where he is currently working as a full professor in discipline of bioscience and biomedical engineering, IIT Indo. He is also the Humboldt visiting professor in Leinberg Lung Center Borstel, Germany. He has also served as Dean, School of Biotechnology in KIIT University. He has published more than 50 research articles in internationally peer-reviewed journals and filed 4 patents. So his area of research is developing drugs and diagnosis for cancer and tuberculosis. So I warmly welcome Professor Avinash sir to hand over the stage and the session.
So one is the patient, one is the line. But it's a very good afternoon to you all. First of all, I would like to thank organizers for their kind invitation. It is really an honor to be part of this program, and particularly I'm really thrilled and privileged to be amongst the young minds. So I have been given the task to speak about the international markets, but considering the diverse background, mainly I'm going to speak about the innovations and the entrepreneurship. So how this innovation is important, not at the premier institutes, but inculcating that innovation culture down the line to the grassroots in state universities, central universities, schools, or even colleges or even schools, to bring our nation to a level at the international market. Similarly, I'll also speak about the entrepreneurship, that how it is important to imbibe the culture of entrepreneurship in national institutes, in colleges, in schools, to grow that culture of this entrepreneurship against these end minds. Since I come from the academic background, I would like to share while going through these presentations, I would like to share my own experiences, that what challenges that as an academician that we need to face while we are working in the innovation and trying to be the entrepreneurs. So before I start my talk, today we are living in the age of innovation and technology, where we as an academician, we are expected to work on or to do a research which will be useful to the society. And we are expected to work on the problems which will provide some solutions to the community or to the society. Because still in our country, more than 60% population, it lives in rural areas. And that requires a lot of these frugal technologies that addresses the problems which are faced by the rural community. So, but even today, more than 90% of the products or technologies which are developed in the laboratories, okay, these technologies, they are not translated or commercialized. And one of the factors which is responsible for this is, of course, that culture of this innovation, startups, entrepreneurship is increasing in last couple of years, but still we have a long way to go to develop or to bring that culture what other or the Western countries are having. And why most of these technologies they are failing, or why this more than 90% of the technology or products, they fail to reach to the commercialization or at the advanced stage, it's mainly because we still lack that ecosystem which will translate or take these products to the level. It's kind of not a death valley. On one side, the research innovation is going on in the laboratories, and then when it comes to one stage, then it goes in that valley, and it never get translated to the other side, which is the commercialization and the marketing of the products. So we need to bridge that gap in the valley, or to create that some sort of a bridge, which will take this technology from one side to the another side, which will then translate it or taken to the society. And that is the difference, where it brings the difference between a successful entrepreneur and the entrepreneurs who want, the people who want to be entrepreneur, but they succeed or they fail to become a successful entrepreneur. Because the entrepreneur or the successful entrepreneur, they may have a lot of ideas in their mind, okay? But they do a very critical analysis of these ideas, and they choose the ideas which has a market or a translational potential. And then they start to work on it, and they translate their ideas into a product. So, and it is mainly because the successful entrepreneurs, they are always ready to take risk. And most of us, we are really afraid of taking risks because we are afraid of the failures. And that's where there is a solid line between a successful entrepreneur and the people who want to be the entrepreneur, but they don't succeed to be the entrepreneur. And that's why I have put this line, that the successful entrepreneur, they tend to bite off a little more than he or she can chew, hoping that he will quickly learn how to chew it. Because unless and until you take the risk, or you get rid of this failure, you will not be able to take the risk in your life. And these entrepreneurs, they always have vision to create something new. Whereas many of people like us who also wants to be innovative entrepreneurs, but they fail, it's mainly because it's not like they don't have ideas. They also have plenty of ideas in their mind, but they always have that doubt in their mind, whether my idea will work it or not, okay? And what if I take this idea forward, whether it will fail or it will succeed? And that fear, it brings these people bring back. Okay? And the other question they have in their mind, that should I really try to do this? Because if you probably the translational science or the translational research, it takes a lot of time. Sometimes it takes years or sometimes decades. Okay, so we really need to have patience and perseverance to take our ideas to that stage. And that's where there is a difference between the successful entrepreneurs and those who want to be this thing. So I'll just like to give one example. Of course, there are plenty of examples in India and other countries. You might have heard this name, right? Walt Disney. And if you read his story, when he was a child, he was living in a farm in a very isolated place. And he's never had some horses. And when he was a child, he was drawing these pictures of these horses. And that's where he started to develop this interest in to become a cartoonist. Okay? And as he grew, then he tried hard to find a job in some news agency, but none of them offered him a job. And then finally he got frustrated and he joined some studio where he was making some pictures for the newspapers and for ads. Then he stayed there for some time. And then again, that's where he started to develop this interest in making these cartoons. And then from that newspaper agency, then he joined in some big studio. And that's where he started to make these cartoons. And probably his first cartoon is not Mickey Mouse, it is Happy Rabbit. Okay, but that is his first cartoon. And then after working there for some time, that company, they cut his pay, his salary was cut. And he got frustrated and he left that job. But then he could not take up that Happy Rabbit, which he made, but since he had contact with the industry, so when he left, he could not carry that. And then he came out and then he made this cartoon. And today we know that how popular it is globally. And then he started to develop these theme parks and those things. So his success mantra was, first you think about it. First you think that what you want to do, okay? And then start to dream about it, because just thinking is not sufficient, okay? You need to have a work plan or a plan to how you would like to take your things or your ideas forward. And the third most important thing is the belief. Okay, you have to believe yourself. Okay? You have to have confidence in yourself. If you don't have self-confidence, you will not be able to take risk in your life. And that is, I think, very much important for the entrepreneurs and those who want to be the innovators. Okay. And finally, you have to dare. Okay. You to get rid of the failure or taking this risk. Then if you follow these 4 things of pillars of life, then you can be a successful entrepreneur. So this is what it is required in this translational and innovative research. Because when you want to translate your ideas, when you want to develop some product, you have to identify the gaps. Okay. For example, since I come from the biology background, I always like to give the biological examples. For example, if you are interested, because there are many diseases where the proper treatment is not available. So can we make some drug which will provide a better treatment for that drug? And you don't have to always think about developing a new drug, because there are hundreds of drugs which has some limitations, which has some drawbacks, which has some side effects. So can I work on those drugs and try to make them better? Okay. So you have to identify the gaps. Okay. Can your innovation, can your research will fill this gap, which will fulfill the need of the society? And then you have to ask the appropriate question, whether if I do this or if I follow this path, whether I'll be able to address the question or not, whether I'll be able to find the solution to the whatever question I'm asking. Then you have to start working on your ideas. Okay. And you need to keep patience, because it is not like publishing a paper, because as an academician, we always like to get fast results, publish something. But translational and innovation, of course, again, it depends on the field you are working on, the product you are working on. It needs a lot of patience and perseverance. I'll just like to give an example of my PhD student who started to, I'm going to show some data on that, the drug which is under clinical trial now from our lab. So this student, he started to work on this project in 2008. Okay? And after that, he completed a PhD, he did postdoc, he got married, now he has 2 kids. But still the product is not ready. Still he keeps on asking, what is the stage of the product? Okay. Because you need to have patience. The innovation does not happen this overnight. Okay. And this is particularly very true for if you are working in the clinical research. Because sometimes the time required for this is between 5 to 10 years, or sometimes it may be more than that. And there is no guarantee that even if you work for these many years, you will be able to develop a product. Okay, because it has several stages. First, you have to identify the lead molecule, do some validation in the lab, take it to the preclinical stage, test your molecule in some animal models, then take to human. In human, again, there are several clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. If that succeeds, then you take to next level. So it is a long process. Okay, so it requires a lot of time. So now I think the time has come that, of course, we have to work on the innovations and product development, which will address our national problems. But if you want to be if you want to grow, or if you want to expand your footprints, I think we have to work on the problem or the global problems, because there are, for example, there are many diseases which are not just in India. They are present in other diseases, other countries also. So you have to work on the product which will not only address the problems of our country, but it will also provide some solutions to the countries, other countries. So our lab is mainly working on these 3 technologies on which we have developed this product. So we have developed this molecule which is used for the blood cancer treatment, because blood cancer is more common in the Western countries. Okay? And this product is now in the clinical trial, and also in next couple of weeks we're transferring this technology to one of these biopharmaceutical company in Mumbai. We are living in the age of fast food, okay, processed food, but we don't know how harmful it is, right? because you might have, you know that a regular consumption of this fast food or the regular, this processed food, there are high chances of cancer, okay? And one of the reasons is when these products like, like French fries or pizza or bakery products, whatever, when they are processed at the high temperature, these products, they have some amino acids and some sugar carbohydrates. And at high temperature, these amino acids or the carbohydrate, they get converted into a carcinogen called as acrylamide. Okay, carcinogen means it's a cancer-causing molecule. And when we consume that, it leads to, or it puts us at high risk of developing this cancer. So we have developed a formulation which reduces more than 90% of this acrylamide formation in the processed food. And again, this one is very popular in the Western countries because the Western countries, the percentage of people who are eating processed food or uncooked food is more, okay? And again, tuberculosis probably, many of you know, is again a global problem, okay? 1/3 of the world's population is infected with tuberculosis, okay? There are various diagnostic methods are available, but they are either time consuming, expensive, there are a lot of limitations are there. So we're trying to develop, and this is at the clinical validation stage now, where it's like a pregnancy kit, okay? You put sample and then you get it. So similarly, we have developed a kind of immunostrip where you take the samples from the patients, put it, and then you will get a result. So this is at the clinical validation stage. So yeah, this is what I would like when this aqueous formulation is used, and then we tested in many these processed foods where there is significant reduction of this product. So that reduces this cancer, this risk in the patients. Similarly, as I mentioned that like 9 million people, they develop TB, 1.5 million people, they die. And the major problem of this tuberculosis is that about 3 million people, they remain undiagnosed. And since this is a contagious disease, okay, it spreads from one person to another person by sneezing, coughing. So if the person is undetected or undiagnosed, that person becomes source of infection for others. So we need to develop technologies which will diagnose this disease. So we have developed this non-invasive technique, so we don't have to take blood or do this bronchoscopy and those things. So just take saliva and sputum, you put it on the strip, and then you will get these results. Okay. So now, probably know that like our country is becoming a favorable destination for many foreign companies. And the reason is that, I mean, we can tell from, because we have been collaborating with many foreign research laboratories since last 15, 20 years. And some 10, 15 years back, the situation was that we were actually eager to develop these collaborations with the foreign laboratories. But now the situation is changing because we, as a Dean International, we also visit many this country. And now we are getting interest from the foreign labs or collaborators or even companies. They want to test their product in India because they see a lot of potential in our country. And it's mainly because of the reasons which are stated over here. Because we have, with such a like huge population, these countries, they think that we have very large domestic market this opportunity. Okay, and we are now the fastest growing economy. So now our economy is 3.7 trillion, and we are expected to. I mean, it is proposed that our economy may grow to 5 trillion in next 2-3 years. Okay, so we are the fifth most growing economy in the world. So, and because of this, there is tremendous increase in the purchasing power in the country. And one of these reasons is that there is a lot of emphasis given on developing this technology infrastructure. Because if you want to develop some product or if you want to do some innovation, you need to have infrastructure, you need to have some facilities which will take your innovations or to the products to the next level. And probably this was the reason, because the lack of this infrastructure in remote places, although many technologies had a potential, but because of this lack of infrastructure, those technologies could not be translated. And the human capital, because we have tremendous talented young manpower. Okay, that's what many of these countries are looking towards India, because in many Western countries, their birth rate is going down, their young population is going significantly down. And that's where we have a lot of potential to provide the man and skilled manpower to the other countries. And like this infrastructure, there's a lot of emphasis is given on the manufacturing. There are many innovation centers now. There are more than like 1,000 incubation centers in like colleges, universities, and various institutes. Okay, but still there are a lot of challenges to like in the international market. For example, if you want to start some collaboration or some joint venture in other countries, because every country they have their own administrative policies. Okay? And this is one of the hurdles, because the administrative policies, sorting these administrative policies, it's one of the major hurdles. So this is still a challenge. The population in the developed market countries is getting old. Okay, so there is a less demand of these products in the Western countries or in the developed countries. Whereas the emerging markets, like in India, okay, there is a huge potential, or there is high demand for these products. Okay, and if you talk about the challenges in India, we need to develop the infrastructure. Okay, because without the infrastructure, the good companies or the foreign these companies, they will not be able to like come and set up their system. Then we also need a manufacturing facilities, because if you want to develop these products, because we are still most of the raw materials we are importing from other countries. Okay, so we need to, and that involves the cost, transport cost, and many other things. Okay, so we need to develop these manufacturing facilities in our country so that the raw materials which are required to develop this product are manufactured here, so that this. And then we also need this energy infrastructure, because why many of these industry clusters, they are situated like nearby these big cities. Why we can't establish such clusters in the remote areas where that will also provide some employment to the rural community? The major challenge is the energy and water, because the industries, they need this. And without developing this infrastructure, most of these industries, they are just clustered in at one place. And the connectivity. Okay, so we still need to improve this connectivity. And of course, there are various like advantages of going for this global or the international one, because if we develop this in internationally, then we have access to the larger market. Okay, because for example, if some product, as I give example of certain drugs, for example, the diseases are not just confined to one country or to one region; those are also in the other country. So if your product is valuable to the other countries or the school, then you have larger market access to your product in the country. And that of course helps in developing a better like trade relations with the countries. That of course helps in enhancing earning and increases the country's economy. So it is like give and take. Okay, so that helps like each other, and that so I mean, these are just things that what we need to do in order to become a global leader in innovation and entrepreneurship. Okay, the most important is to, as I mentioned earlier, to develop these unique and novel products. Okay, because still I was just reading one article I think last week in the business news. So still many of us, we have tendency of doing some slight modifications in the product. It's developed by someone, then we just do some modification and we try to sell it. Okay, it means we still don't, because there are many technologies. So what do you think then? These technologies are available in these Western countries, foreign countries for years. Then after several years, it comes to India. Okay, by that time, these technologies, most of them, it becomes outdated there. Okay? It's mainly because we don't have that tendency or that attribute to invest, to think, or to put efforts in developing the new products. I think that is very important if you want to be increase our presence at in the international market. And that's, we have to do that. We have to avoid copying these products or making just some changes here and there, and that we have to avoid. And as I mentioned, we have to develop this innovation and translational ecosystem, the clusters. For example, recently we visited this Taiwan. Probably you know this semiconductor. Okay, the Taiwan is known for that, and there is a cluster called as the semiconductor cluster that is world's largest semiconductor cluster in India. So you won't believe it. So whatever things are required to develop the chips, okay, everything is available in that ecosystem. Once someone starts any company or any venture there, they don't have to go beyond that cluster. Everything is available there. And that's why a lot of countries, not only from the Taiwan, from all over the world, they want to go and start their business there. Okay, because if you want to develop something, you can't, let's say, get raw materials from one place, then development at other place, validation at other place, because that requires a lot of papers and that also takes a lot of time. So we need to develop these clusters, be it, let's say, a cluster for automobiles, cluster for, let's say, biopharma, cluster for vaccine, whatever. So all these things, like it has to be established in that cluster. So that will make, or that will promote or this expedite the process of this innovation and this. Okay, so I will not go into detail. So as I said, we are working on one of this product that is M-Aspart, which is used for the blood cancer. Probably you know that we have white blood cells, which are very important for fighting the infections. Okay, and when these white blood cells get converted into cancerous cells, and we know that these cancerous cells, they multiply very fast. What happens after some time? This number of these cancerous cells, it increases, and the good cells, their number decreases. That leads to a leukemia. And this is a very common type of cancer, because if you compare, there are different types of this cancer. And this acute lymphatic leukemia is most common. Almost like 70 to 80% of these cancer patients, they develop this leukemia. And if you look at this number of the cases, in India, more than 35,000 new ALL blood cancer these cases are diagnosed in India. And in other countries, close to 900,000 new cases are diagnosed with this disease. Okay, and this drug is very important, and there is no substitute for this, because when this drug is included in the chemotherapy, then the survival rate of the patient, it goes to more than 80%. So this is very important drug to be used. And if you look at this national and the global statistics, it is speculated that by 2030, this ALL blood cancer, it will increase by 31%. You can see the number of cases what are going to increase in next 5-7 years. And if you just look at this number of cases in Asia, India, it contributes 17.7% of the ALL cases and 28% of the childhood leukemia cases. So you can see, and we are seeing that because we are visiting this hospital, there is very large number of patients. There is a very drastic increase in the number of these ALL patients in India. So we have to work on some drugs which will reduce the risk of these things. And of course, there are various treatments are available. Okay, the chemotherapy is the most common one. In chemotherapy, we know that the combination of drugs is given, and this enzyme is very, very much crucial in this chemotherapy. So, as you can see, there are various stages of this treatment, and in all stages, this drug is given in combination to other drugs. But the major problem is that in developing countries, this drug is given, but the treatment cost is around $170,000 because the treatment time is about 28 to 30 weeks. And our common people, they are not able to afford this much treatment cost. Okay, so that's why in India, the quality of this drug used for the treatment is very poor. So we need to develop some drug which has better quality and outcome. So these are the various drugs which are marketed in various countries, but they have several limitations as mentioned here. And we're trying to work on the product which will minimize these side effects, because these drugs, they are not, their efficiency in relapse or in recurrent cancer is very low. When there is a recurrence of cancer, these drugs, their efficacy goes significantly down. So we need to develop a drug which can also improve this relapse area. And then since these drugs, they go in the blood, so there are many proteins, enzymes are present, which enzymes basically they degrade this drug, so that these drugs, when they are degraded, they are not able to kill these cancerous cells. So we need to develop a drug which is stable in the serum. And so we have developed this now drug in the last 14 years. We have been working on it. And we have this molecule now, which has this stability, which these characteristics, which we are looking for. So, but while developing these drugs, or you take any product, so it is a ladder. Okay, the success is a ladder. You can't jump from step 1 to step 10. Okay, you have to go sequentially. And in order to climb this ladder, you need these approaches already, because science now cannot be done by a single person. Because if you take one single problem, let's say example of again the drug development. Okay, the biologist will think in one perspective. They'll think, okay, this molecule, okay, if I develop it, but the chemist will give inputs that how this molecule can be developed better. You need a pharmacist which will test this efficiency of the adults in pharmacokinetic studies. You need a clinician which will validate your product in the patients. So you need a multidisciplinary approach to develop any product or any So, and the most important is that we need to develop collaborations with the industries. Because if you compare with the developed countries or many countries like USA, Singapore, even in Japan, Taiwan, there the academicians and researchers, they work very closely. They have very close collaborations with them. So they understand that researchers, they understand when they collaborate with the industry that what it needs to be done to take their products or the innovations to the next stage. Okay, so, and of course in India it is improving, but still we have a long way to go, because still that gap is there. So we need to develop that culture of strong collaborations between industry and the academician. So, and then I think once we have this ecosystem, I think then there are high chances of developing or translating your ideas into a successful product. And for that, the market positioning is very much important. Okay? Because this market positioning, it will help you to create a special position for your product and service in the minds of the consumer. Okay? Because why we go for a specific brands? For example, if you want to buy shoes, we buy from a specific brand, right? But if you want to buy clothes, we see a specific brand. Okay, so, and it's mainly because they have been doing this market positioning for many years. Okay, and that the customer satisfaction is very important. And now we have to provide the product which are very competitive, because shoes, there are many different brands are present, clothes, many different brands. But then you have to, why we choose a specific brand? Because that gives edge over the other products. And then to give a target market cost to purchase your good and services. So when we're developing these products or innovations, the value proposition is very important. Okay, so when you are developing, you have to see if let's say spend 10-15 years in developing some product, where at the end whether there will be any buyers for your product or not. Okay, because after 10-15 years, if you come to know that okay, there are no buyers, there are no customers, there are no consumers, so your whole work will be wasted. So that value proposition of your product is very important, and this value proposition you have to do not only with the Indian markets, but also the companies which are present in other countries, or the other companies which are making this same product. Okay, so I will not go into details of this. Okay, So, as I mentioned previously, that we need to develop these clusters to expedite the innovations and the translation of your science. So here again, I'm giving this example of this developing therapeutic drug. Okay, it's a very, very complex process. As I said, it may take between 10 to 15 years. And there are many these steps which are available in the. So there are many different steps which are involved in developing drugs. For example, it starts with the target identification. We need to do this lab validation, to preclinical testing, product development. Then this comes a major hurdle, the regulatory hurdles, then the IP and competition. So we need to have an ecosystem which will be helpful, or they will complement to each other, and that will help to take these products to. And this is why many these developing countries, they are more successful, there are more drugs are coming or more products are coming. It's because they have very defined clusters which will develop that ecosystem to translate your ideas or to take your products to the commercial level. And I think that we need to develop in our country. Other most important thing is that when any product is developed, then this global competitive landscape is very important. It means you have to compare your product with the similar products. Okay. Again, I'm giving this example. So these are the products which are available in various countries. Okay. But then you have to compare your product with these other products and see what are the advantages that your product will have over others. And that is called as the key differentiator. That what qualities that makes your product unique or different than others. So the key differentiator of your product is very, very important. Okay. Now this comes a very important thing that, as I mentioned, there is a great need of having these industry academia collaborations to promote this translation, because researchers, okay, their thought process is very different. Okay? They would like to develop something, they would like to get fast result. If they have something, some prototype or the preliminary type, they think that okay, the product is ready. But then when they start to, so they scale their product development, let's say from level 0 to level 10. Okay. When it reaches to level 10, the researcher thinks that my product is ready to go to market. But to take your product from lab to the commercial level, of course, you have to collaborate with the industries. And when you start discussion with the industries, whatever the researcher thinks that it has reached to the level 10, industry thinks that for them it is at the level 0. Because there are, after development, a lot of things are involved. You have to upscale this product, you have to improve the quality of the product, you have to develop the formulation, marketing, commercialization, lot of things are, and you have to make it commercially viable also. Okay, so that collaboration is very important, and for that the selection of these industries is very much important, which will help you to take your products forward. Okay, then when we discuss with the industries, basically what they look for, okay, they want to see the market viability, because some products, they look very good on paper. We think that okay, they are fantastic and it will solve all problems. But for industry, they will see whether your product is commercially viable or not. Okay, because let's say if it involves the raw materials which are imported from the other countries, that will add the cost, whether raw materials are available or not. And we do this research at the lab scale. When you want to take it to the commercial level, you have to upscale this product. So whether we are able to upscale that process or not. And while doing this, whether when you will sell, because you cannot sell this product for very high price, then there won't be any customers or the consumers. Okay, so these industries, they will say whether your product is commercially viable or not. And of course, they will look for the novelty. And for that, this establishing its relevance between the industries and academics is very important, because industries, they won't easily come and talk to you and take your product. Okay, they would like to see the potential of product. They would like to know that why you would like to collaborate with the industries and what benefit they will get of it. So that mutual benefit is very important. And many of these industries, they are skeptical about the feasibility. As I said, when we started to develop this molecule, we discussed with many, at least 15, 20 biopharma companies. And many of them, they straight away, they rejected, no, we are not interested, because at that stage, they could not see the possibility of the commercialization market. But they are very skeptical. They need to invest some money, and the industry will not invest money unless and until they see some profit in that. So that overcoming this skepticism is very, very important. And again, this managing this balance between the industry and research is very, very important. Okay, because as I said, these researchers, they are more interested in the scientific discoveries and publish their data. Okay, while industries, they will look for the benefit, money, right? So commercialization aspect. So always there has to be a balance between the academia and the industries that will kind of create a win-win situation for us. Now, of course, when we are developing the branding and marketing is very important, the product, okay? Because this proper branding and marketing that will build your product recognition, it will create the loyalty of the customers. As I said before, why we go for specific brands? Because that customer has developed some loyalty to that particular, because we feel more comfortable there. Okay, and that's why the branding and the marketing of the product is very, very important. Okay, again, this is very important because the product marketing, I think these are very important factors to for proper this marketing strategy. So we have to first analyze, okay, that. And this analysis can be in the market can be done by conducting some customer interviews or surveys, position that how your product will be positioned or how it will be in comparison to the others, how you will align your product with the others, and then pricing. Okay, because as I said, the pricing has to be reasonable. Then only the customers will show interest in your product. Unless and until like there is really unique product and there is no alternative for that, then people will be ready to pay. But if there are option and if a product, even if it is very good, but if the pricing is very high, maybe the people may not be interested to buy. And this positioning is, like there are several strategies, as you can see. Attribute positioning. Okay, here the firm positions itself based on the characteristics that gives them a distinct identity. Here I just gave an example. In many shops, Raymond since 1925. Or some companies started in 16th century, 17th century, because that gives the confidence to the customer that this company is viable, their products are viable for many, many years. Benefit positioning. Okay, for example, many of us would like to buy the Maruti fast. One of the reasons is that the service stations are available everywhere. Okay, that brings easiness or in the customer application. Okay. Similarly, user positioning. There are some products which are very specific use. For example, if you want to use any products for the babies, we prefer to go for these brands. Okay, so there are user positioning. This market positioning is important. Value positioning. Okay, as I said, your company is positioned offering the best product at the lower price. Okay, for example, you see, we get attracted. Product 9.99. It is 10, but it is 9.99. Okay, so this value positioning is very, very important. So this is all. Okay. So if you want to sustain in a international thing, it is important that these attributes are very, very important to increase our presence at the international. Thank you very much. You want to take picture?
Hello, sir. Actually, my question is there. One question. It is not directly related to entrepreneurship, but it is according to the health wise. As you said that processed food are not good for health. So similarly, Horlicks, Bonvita, and some baby items which we are giving to the young ones, a new baby So it is safe to give them or not? Just like normally the Bonvita and Horlicks in a daily routine.
Okay, so let me, as I said, like for certain things there are no alternatives. But let me tell you, as a biologist, there is no alternative for the natural food. There is no alternative. But let's say, now, our life has become so fast. So if you let's say take this Bonvita or any the food supplements, okay, it contains a mixture of
Grains and many-
yeah. So if you want to make it natural, then you have to prepare 10 different things and feed it to and so that is not possible. Okay. So natural is the best one. Okay, because you take any process of the packed food, okay, it has some preservatives in that. Okay, for example, milk. Okay, if you keep this milk, let's say in outside the fridge for
A few hours.
Okay, it will be spoiled. But same milk, okay, if it is processed, you can store it for few days, couple of days, right? And that's mainly because so everything like advantages comes with some price.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Sir, my question is that there was a slide you showed in the PPT where which the heading was written how to become a market leader, like a global leader in innovation and entrepreneurship. Sir, according to you, who is the current market leader or global leader in innovation and entrepreneurship right now in the current situation?
I mean, in different fields there are different leaders, right? You take example of our own example, Ambani. He's leader in many things now. You take example of Mark Zuckerberg. He's leader in different. Then Elon Musk. He's leader in different. So in different, it depends on field.
Sir, my question is related to the tuberculosis case you showed. Actually, the thing is, when 50,000 cases of tuberculosis was under study, in pulmonary tuberculosis, the 45% of cases developed the brain tuberculosis, and the 40% of cases of brain tuberculosis developed pulmonary tuberculosis. But when the same research is done in the rats and the other animals, the CSF strain directly goes into the brain and the pulmonary strain directly goes into the pulmonary tuberculosis. So how can we tackle this issue while doing the research?
Okay, you see, one of the major problem with tuberculosis is, of course, for pulmonary tuberculosis, the primary site is lungs, okay, because it mainly goes through the inhalation. When you inhale these infected droplets, it goes to the lungs. So when it goes to lungs, we have different immune cells in the lungs which try to kill these organisms. But the organisms are also very smart. They also develop some strategies to avoid killing by our immune system. And there is a structure called as granuloma. Okay, because if the TB remains for several years, it develops a kind of mass in the lungs, very hard mass. That is called as granuloma. So this granuloma, and inside the granuloma, this bacteria they survive. Okay, they are protected by this hard mass. But if this bacteria remains there for some time, because they also multiply, right? It becomes 2 to 4, 4 to 8, like that. And actually, it reaches to a stage, their number increases. And what happens? This granuloma ruptures. Okay, and then it starts to disseminate to other organs. Okay? So if you don't take a proper treatment in the beginning, or if your immune system is not able to kill this bacteria in the beginning, so over a period of time, this bacteria will multiply and they will spread to other organs. Okay, then it will go to brain, it will cause meningitis, it will go to skin. Okay, so almost all vital organs they can be get infected with this. Okay, so pulmonary, there are two types. One is pulmonary and extrapulmonary. So pulmonary means it goes right to the lungs, and then from pulmonary it can also spread to other organs. Then it becomes extrapulmonary. Okay.
Yes, but while doing the research, how can we tackle this issue? Means we do directly research in the rats, right? We can't try any drugs in the humans directly. We first have to travel into the rats and the guinea pigs. But these pulmonary strains, they don't cause these blood-brain barrier. No? But how can we tackle this issue? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you see, why we cannot use this drugs directly on the human? Because ethically it is not permitted. For example, if someone develops some drug which is toxic, has side effects, and if it is given to human, and that may be sometimes. So that's a very standard process before you develop any drug, before you take it to the human. Always we have to test them in the animal and see whether or not like it does not cause any toxic effect. That's why I showed that slide. It takes 5 to 10 years. Okay. So after all this validation in the animal models, then you take it to the human. Okay. So so there are then you're coming back to a question that why it goes to one strain goes to the brain and other goes to lungs, right? Yeah. So it again different because there are many variants of the strains. Some become attenuated, we call it as attenuated, some become virulent, some become hypervirulent. Okay. So, and when these bacteria remain in our body, okay, because they also try to change themselves so that, and they why they make the changes? Because by making the changes, they try to avoid recognition by our body. And these changes, sometimes it makes them more like hypervirulent or it reduces that. So it becomes, if it becomes hypervirulent, it means it has more tendency of causing the disease. Okay. So it multiplies, it avoids killing by our immune system, and then it's try to spread to other organs. Okay. And not only brain, it also goes to the bone marrow. Okay. Like, we have bone, and inside the bone, there is a flesh. Okay. That is called as bone marrow. And once it goes in the bone marrow, then that becomes a very safe home for this bacteria because bone is calcified structure, right? It's a solid structure. And when patient they take these antibiotics, they are not able to penetrate this bone. Okay. So that the bacteria, they live very happily in the bone marrow. Okay. And then after some time, when our immune system becomes weak, or if we get some other infection or some other disease, if our immune system is compromised, then these bacteria, they grow, and then again there is a reactivation. You might have heard many cases, TB cases. Okay, they have taken some treatment, and then for some time they become TB negative. They don't show any symptoms. But then again, after a few years, they start to show the symptoms. It's mainly because these bacteria, they hide in different organs. Okay, and they live there for some time, and then when our system gets compromised, again they reactivate, grow, and then cause disease. That is called as the reactivation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there are no more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Avinash Sunande, sir, for such an insightful session about the developments in diagnostic tech and industry. Now, I would like to invite Professor Raghuveer Singh Tomar, Head of CS2, to hand over a small token of gratitude and appreciation to sir. So after this, we'll be having teaching session and that will be held in L2 and L3. So I request those guys having that to go to L2 and L3 and our volunteers will be there to guide you to there. Guys, it would be really better if you're staying for 2 minutes so that clarification on how the pitching session and whatever those people who don't have pitching will be given. So within 2 minutes, officials will be giving a more brief announcement about it. So it would be really nice of you guys if you are sitting here. And those people who haven't signed the attendance sheet can actually sign it, and those who have done can actually share it.
Attention everyone. Okay, this announcement is regarding the pitching. So please pay your attention now. So there are 2 rooms, as I think you all are aware, the list was printed outside. Many of the teams whose pitch is today, many of the teams have still not sent their PPTs on that email ID that was mentioned. So I would request all the teams who are having today the pitching session, please mail it. And accordingly, they can, outside the notice board, the rooms are mentioned. There are L2 and L3. Half of the pitches will be happening in L2 and the rest of the pitches will be happening in L3. The panel is already present there and there are volunteers to coordinate over there. So first, all those who have not mailed the presentation, please do it right away and then only leave the room. Coordinators, please make sure that all the teams that are having today's session, and then you can proceed. And for the rest of the teams who don't have the presentation pitch today, they are at leisure, so they can utilize this time to for tomorrow's preparation. Thank you so much.